Greetings all. This is Hairy Nick.
And this is a less hairy Justin. It happened,
We're
Nick.
back.
It happened. We
made-
didn't think it was... We memed this.
Are you talking
it
about
actually
Vader?
happened.
Are you talking about us making a video 2 days in a row?
Yeah. Both?
One of those things for sure.
I mean,
Yes,
just imagine
indeed.
if FFG bring out an article about this tomorrow.
They have done this in the past where something got not necessarily leaked, but like it was on a website by accident, and they go, let's just put the article out. Yes, indeed. We had, for those of you who don't know, on the German Asmodee website, which of course has all the X-Wing products on it, they had the English version of the spread for the Rebel and Empire Squadron pack. There are some accuracy issues as far as we know with these photos. The Rebel one has like the upgrade cards from the Resistance Squadron pack for some reason. It looks like there's been an error in... Remember, these are just renditions. But we do have the pilot card spreads for both, and it confirms that, yes, we do indeed have a certain character on the TIE Defender. Now, before we talk about that, we'll just quickly mention a couple of things before we get onto the really hype stuff.
We got to sprinkle some other things.
That's it, sprinkle it on, like Salt Bay, if you will. On the A-Wing and the Rebellion, we also have Ahsoka Tano. That has been confirmed. That was one that people were speculating quite heavily on. Also, we know, based on what we can see out of the spread, that Wedge Antilles' ability is the same as it is on the X-Wing.
Initiative 3 with that ability. A little pocket ace.
Absolutely.
Is it 3 or 4?
Initiative 3. So just like a good little aggressive Initiative 3. It's going to be a decent cost. Obviously way cheaper than him in the X-Wing. Really cool ability. It's going to slot quite nicely into like a Swarm or like Junkyard builds. It seems like a very applicable pilot. Okay, with that out of the way, let's talk about this card right here. Darth Vader...
What is it?
Who's this? Is this someone that we know?
In German, isn't Vader in German father?
Oh, Darth Vader, yes. Well, it's quite apt, if you will. Darth Vader, yes.
He's going to be a chunky boy. Darth Chungus.
Darth Chungus, indeed. Let me bring up the card in front of me so I can read this as well. Initiative 6. 3 recurring force charges, as it's Vader, of course he does. You cannot spend force except while attacking. Now, that's bad. That's really bad. The card's terrible. I don't want it in the bin with it.
Yeah.
That's it.
10 points.
Oh,
10
there's
points.
more. There's more. It can't be. You can't fix it. Let's keep going from there. While you perform an attack, you may spend 1 force to change a blank result to a hit result. I take it all back. This is incredible.
Well, that's pretty good.
That's
also
very
you've
good.
You've got full throttle as well.
Indeed.
So it's pretty good.
Indeed. So you're still getting your free evade tokens. So yes, you can't spend force on defense, but it can still generate free evade tokens. It can still take a focus action after doing a 4 white K turn. No, the downside of not being able to spend force on defense is going to wreck this. It's still absurd. It's still absurdly powerful. Now, there are going to be those, Empire. I don't want to say the word fanboy, but that's probably the most apt. Aficionado. Let's go with aficionado. Who, yes, are going to be saying, oh, why didn't they just get the same ability as TIE Advanced? I like this design a lot more. That's the response I have too. I think a TIE Defender... Oh, yeah, absolutely. A TIE Defender with this ability makes way more sense. I think just migrating his TIE Advanced ability onto a TIE Defender... no.
That's 150 points.
Indeed. And I gotta say as well, like, this kind of raw offensive ability is great. It almost like it's reminiscent of what he can already do on the TIE Advance. They're bringing that pure aggression across to this platform, but doing it in a way that suits this platform a bit better, and it's not going to have, like, catastrophically, like, powerful effects. It is still hugely powerful. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's not.
This is not a TIE Defender. It's a TIE Attacker.
I like that, yeah. I am going to say right now, I believe that this is going to be the most potent, the most powerful small ship in the game. I don't have to see it on the table to say that fact. It's more powerful than Fen Rao. It's more powerful than Vader on the Advanced. It's more powerful than Poe Dameron. Yeah.
People who can fly this well, they're going to be able to do a lot with this ship.
Indeed. Now, let's just tone everything down for 1 second. Let's be realistic about what's going on here. We're talking about a TIE Defender with what could arguably be the best pilot ability combined with 3 Force tokens in the game. Potentially. Like, I think it's the combination of the frame and the ability which makes it, in my mind, the best small ship in the game. But we have to be realistic about what this is going to cost. If we take a look here on yet another squad builder, I will just scroll down here. Now, Volt Scarus, yes, I know it says 200 points, and we were joking because the placeholder for yet another squad builder is always 200 points. Like, maybe Vader's going to be 200 points. No. It's not going to be 200 points. But the second most expensive below Vader, possibly even Volt Scarus as well, is Colonel Vessery at 81 points, which is Initiative 4. While you perform an attack against a locked ship, after you roll attack dice, you may acquire a lock on the defender. It's a good aggressive ability. It's not even the highest initiative. The highest initiative is actually Rex Labrath, Initiative 5, at 78 points. I will say this quite comfortably. I believe Vader, bare minimum 95 points. I know that's...
Look, let's put it this way. On the TIE X1, Darth Vader is 66 points. The next expensive is Marek Steele at 45. That's 21 points.
21 points. If we go by that logic, 21 points is 102 points. I think there is a greater chasm between Vader and Marek Steele and Vader and Colonel Vessery. I think they're a bit closer in power level on the Defender, for sure. But nevertheless, I think we're talking about that.
Yeah, the first Initiative 6 on a Defender, it's...
The pilot I liken Vader to most isn't actually a Defender pilot. It reminds me a lot of Boba Fett on the Fire Spray. Boba Fett is currently 86 points. And I want to say, with the kind of consistency we're looking at Vader, I place him somewhere in my mind around 10 points more than Boba Fett. Let me explain why I want to bring up the conversation around Boba Fett. Because Boba Fett is a pilot which a lot of people strongly dislike, or in the case of me, strongly like. It's a pilot that has a similar kind of effect and has been abused in similar kind of ways, in that it has very, very, very consistent dice, especially on offense. That's why I make the comparison with this new Vader ability. It's something that is actually the cause of a lot of negative play experience, or a lot of perceived negative play experience, especially for players who aren't as experienced flying against Boba Fett. I know I've spoken to a lot of people that despise Boba Fett, think it's like absolutely busted and whatever, and similar kind of thing to Vader. He's way more expensive than the next most expensive Fire Spray pilot. Not as much as Vader is on the TIE Advance, but still similar kind of points treatment. And I think the risk with Vader is it's going to fall into that same kind of category. It's going to be so hard to balance, and we're going to have that same kind of thing where, especially newer players, feel like there is no way to beat it. I don't think that's true. I think looking at Vader, yes, if it's costed fairly, it can be beaten. It can be beaten if you know how to work around it. It's going to be very difficult. Don't get me wrong, but you have, say, Vader's worth 100 points. Well, you have 100 points worth of your own ships to throw at it. Think of what you can do with that many points. Not only that, if you get half points on Vader, minimum, as we say, we're looking at around 100 points at the present moment. It's just pure speculation. For theory crafting, let's say 100 points.
Yeah. That's 50 points. That's a quarter of your list.
That is a ship in most lists. So yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. That's the whole thing. Just the consistency of that defense, the consistency of that offense, especially, is going to lead to a lot of feel bads. And I just want to encourage a lot of new players. It's similar. Actually, no. It's similar to another conversation we had about 1 or 2 years ago with the Vulture droids. What happened with the Vulture droids were people completely off it because of they just pop was the common thing that was being said. Hey guys, they're just 19 points. That's what I want to say. It's a similar kind of thing, but in the opposite direction. Hey, Vader is unbeatable. Hey, Vader's 100 points.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to have these conversations again. I can just see it happening. I mean, Vader, we don't know that Vader's 100 points. Again, we're just speculating for the time being. Speaking of speculation, Justin, let's discuss some potential things we could be doing with Vader.
Yes.
This is going off the assumption that it's going to have the same loadout as regular TIE Defenders have now. We don't know that that's true. We assume it's going to be the same thing with a Force upgrade. Let's go with that.
Yeah, because having a talent, putting Duke on that seems a bit real harsh. And
now,
not even
we know
a bit.
the character has had a talent. Anakin Skywalker on the Republic, on the N1 Starfighter, has a talent instead of a Force. That's kind of a special thing for Anakin, though.
Yeah, because he was young then. That was Yannikin.
Yannikin had Force but didn't have Force. So that's what we're going to go with. The reason I'm saying that is because a lot of people are speculating on Advanced Sensors, which I'll just bring up here. Advanced Sensors is a card in the sensor slot that allows you to perform an action before you reveal your dial, at the expense of taking any other actions. So it's kind of a non-bow on the Defender because you do not get to get the free evade.
Yeah.
Which is the baked-in ability. It still might work with the new title and that kind of stuff, but let's just say for the sake we're just using it with this as per usual. I think even if you can take Advanced Sensors, the option of taking those free evade tokens on the turns you don't use Advanced Sensors is still too powerful. The option between those two things, even though they are specifically a non-bow, is still way too good. Like you dial in a 4K turn on a Defender, which is white, by the way, in case we just show you. See, the 4K turn is white. You can see it down there on the corner. You dial in a 4K turn, and at Initiative 6, assuming you have the better bid, you're moving with perfect information. You can boost or barrel roll into a different position and then K-turn. So you can set it up perfectly with knowing exactly where your opponent's ships are. It cannot be understated how powerful that is. And it's worth losing the evade token occasionally to make that work.
Well, I was going to say, just speaking about spending 10 points and occasionally losing an evade token, what happens if you were going to spend, say, 32 points and get supernatural reflexes?
This is also
you're spending a Force because you're not using the Force on defense, which means that this is pure for attack. You're still going to have 2 Force for attack if you need them. You're getting your boost or your barrel roll, and on top of that, you're still getting the evade.
Speculatively, that would cost 132 points.
Yeah, it's Darth Chungus. It's a chunky boy. He's a chunky boy.
He is a chunky boy. That's correct.
But
by the way, we're calling it out. Darth Chungus is the next archetype. For sure. It might be. Yeah. It might just be a case of taking like Advanced Sensors and say like hate instead in the Force slot is just like better value and it's a better use of your points because it's like half the amount of points of going like supernatural reflexes. But yeah, both of these seem quite valid. It might just be a case of like Vader is already say 100 points. What's another 10 points to make sure that ship gets more flexibility? It means you've got to be so careful in the way you fly. It's more expensive. It's more dangerous if it gets destroyed. But if that ship is that important, you can do that.
You've also got the Force ability Sense, so you can have even more agency to know where things are.
True. By the way,
there's options.
By the way, having said that, you're very unlikely to use throw all 3 Force on your attack. You would need to roll exactly focus blank or focus and then not have a focus token. Yeah.
With Darth Vader, it does say when you perform an attack, you may spend 1 Force to change 1 blank result to a hit result. That doesn't mean that you can use 2 Force.
Hard limit. No.
Yeah.
The language with 1 is always limiting. So if you roll multiple blanks, sorry, you can't do anything about it unless you have a target lock or something like that.
Yeah, or fire control system.
Now, I know what the comments are going to say in response to what I'm about to say next. Oh, Nick, my dice are always terrible. All I'm going to say is the odds of rolling multiple blanks consistently on red dice is not very high. If you're really unlucky, it can happen. If you believe in luck as a construct, but let's not get into that right now.
I mean, also, rather than advanced senses, you can put fire control system on.
For sure.
That gives you another reroll.
I don't like the idea of taxing his action economy like that, but if you have a target lock and you just don't spend it, and they have one really important target,
well,
I guess that's okay.
Actually, Nick, speaking of that, you do have a missile slot.
That's true. And I was talking before how, like, if it's already 100 points, what's another 10 points for advanced sensors? What's another 4 points for concussion missiles? Get it on there, son.
Why concussion? Go cluster missiles.
Cluster missiles. I meant to say cluster missiles. So we'll pretend that was your idea. Well done, Justin. For sure. Like, cluster missiles and fire control system means you're taking target locks incidentally. You're getting those rerolls, and even though, like, his natural attack's already very good, so cluster missiles does lose some value from that point of view. Cluster missiles allows you to perform 2 separate attacks on 2 separate attack activations. So 4 attacks over the course of 2 turns. And that is good. It's 6 dice as opposed to, an attack of 3 dice. And his ability still works with that. So, like, considering his natural attack is already excellent, spending more on a different attack usually isn't a great thing. Like, oftentimes I'd say don't spend on missiles on defenders. It's wastage. It's better to use on, like, A-Wings that only have, like, a 2 red dice attack because you're giving them much better attacks. But in the case of Vader, because he's going to be so expensive, it's like it's going 360. It's like, okay, but now he's so expensive that he's so valuable that I want all the flexibility I can on this pilot, which makes it worthwhile again.
Yeah, you basically want him to be 2 ships in one.
Yeah.
So you can have those 2 attacks.
Yeah, for sure. It's bizarre. It's bizarre that.
I mean, yeah. Speaking of, we still also have the option for the TIE Defender Elite, which does mean that he can have 2 attacks. But
indeed. As we said before, I think like a tractor beam on Vader would be very potent and very powerful and would just delete ships. I think having free evades is just way too good, especially when this is going to be so expensive and you have to protect this. It must be protected, otherwise you lose games. I do want to talk about, just before we wrap this video up, I want to talk about a potential archetype that I want to see. I want to see, and we need clarifications with the rules to see if this works. I want to see Palp Ace. Palp Ace. As a new archetype.
Just the one.
Just the one. Given how expensive we are sure Vader's going to be, it might be a case of we take Palpatine on another platform, a Reaper, a Lambda, maybe a Decimator if that balances out better. We have seen that before, by the way. We have seen like a Decimator with Palp with 1 ace before in first edition. But given it's weird because Decimators become so much cheaper. It's a bizarre kind of thing. But let's just bring that up right now. The cheapest Decimator costs 67 points, for example. So if we pop on Emperor Palpatine, 11 points makes 78 points. It allows 122 points for Vader. Well, 122 points for Vader and whatever other upgrades you want on your Decimator. Or we upgrade it to a named pilot, which is not expensive. Like Rack is only 9 points, for example, over the base level thing.
I mean, he's Initiative 5, isn't he?
He is indeed.
Yeah, Initiative 5, Initiative 6, that seems pretty good.
Yeah, seems pretty decent. We still got Oiken, who can attack at range 0, which I love. That's like Oiken and Vader. Oiken, Palp Ace. I want Palp Ace to be a thing. Again, Palp Ace.
Oh, is it going to be Palp Ace or Darth Chungus and Friend?
Darth Chungus Co, yes.
Darth Chungus and Friend is going to be Vader and Wampa.
Vader and Wampa. There's no reason to take Wampa. It's just for memes. Wampa, Darth Wampa. That's it. Darth Wampa is going to be a thing. No, in all seriousness, if you want to fly it with one other ace, like maybe Suntafel, Suntafel and like a TIE fighter is even possible. I can see that just balancing out.
Yeah,
like you have like a lopsided. have a lopsided aces. Like, instead of like having 3 evenly costed aces, you have Vader, Sunterfell, and a very, very cheap ship. That could be a thing.
And basically an academy tie.
Indeed. Yeah. In any case, like 2 ship builds with like Vader and a defender, as in old Vader, or like 2 defenders, has been something that people have been experimenting with since the start of 2nd edition. And this is the first time that I look at the options. I look at, you know, all the flavors, all the ingredients that we have. I'm like, that could be a thing now. We could actually have like 2 defender builds thanks to this new Vader. That's what I'm saying. Okay, we've prattled on for quite a while about one pilot card, but it is the most interesting pilot card that we've seen in a very long time. So I make no apology.
He is the most chungussy.
He is the most chungussy.
I'm going to keep saying. I'm going to keep saying it.
I want to see my Chungus on the table. My Darth Chungus on the table. In any case, Justin, thank you so much for joining me. We're going to see a lot more information about these packs very soon. We have like the full lists that were spoiled on the German Asmodee website as well. It's just like names of cards, so it's not a lot of information right now. But either we'll get articles over the next few days, or something else will leak, or something like that. So
yeah, we've got probably another week before something comes out.
Pretty much.
I'm hoping.
Pretty much. I'm here for it.
I'm kind of annoyed that we didn't get anything spoiled for the Scum. That was a bit disappointing.
You're speaking my language, sir. You're speaking my language. That's all right. You know, they got Vader on Scum. Well, guess what? We're going to have Jabba the Hutt squished into a mining tie with like a little tail coming out the side. That's it. And that is going to be the greatest small ship in the game. He's laughing because he knows I'm right. He's laughing because he knows I think I better wrap this video up. I think I just broke Justin. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. Comments down below. What do you think is going to happen? What are the builds going to be? What's he going to cost? I want to know your thoughts. Hit the bell icon. Social media stuff down in the description below. Patreon.
Yeah. Like, share, tell your friends, all the others.
That's it. Make the algorithm happy. In the meantime, me and Justin will catch all of you in the next video.
Bye.